What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another FB Designs tutorial. I am Rob, your host, and tonight we are going to be creating this. A nice little video showing through text, cinematic intro. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's jump on over to After Effects. Okay, now you can do this with text or a logo. In this case, I already have a text set up, so let's create a new composition. Okay, I don't know what that was about, but let's create a new composition. We will name this text. 1920 by 1080 is fine. 30, a frame rate of 30. Yeah, that's fine for right now. Generally, though, you want to turn that down to like 24 to get a more cinematic feel. 10 seconds is long enough. Click OK. Next, what we want to do is grab our title here, drag it down. Let's go ahead and scale this. Hit S on your keyboard. We're going to scale this down a little bit. And the preview was a little bit big, and you couldn't see the shadows that were casting below the text here. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that doesn't happen again. Let's go on over here to let's create a new solid. We'll leave this black. Click OK. Drag this solid down below your text. Go to your track mat. If you don't see these, you could either go down here to toggle switches. If you don't see that, then you can hit F4 until you come up to your track mat options. And we're going to go with alpha inverted mat. Don't worry that we can't see anything. We're going to take care of that here in a second. Okay, next, what we want to do is create a new composition. We will name this main composition. Leave all the same settings. Click OK. Next, we want to take our text, drag that in. Now, if we toggle our transparency grid, you can see that we have our text up there and a transparent background, which is exactly what we want. Okay, next we want to take whatever our background is going to be. In this case, it's going to be some footage of, you guessed it, New York. So let's drag that down. What we're going to do is, we'll take care of that here in a second. Okay. Right click, go to pre-compose. We'll name this footage. Move all attributes. Click OK. And there we go. We're all done. I'm just kidding. We got a long ways to go. So. Okay, so we have both of these into pre-comps, and the reason why we did this is so we can turn them into 3D compositions. There we go. We'll scrub through a little bit. You can see that the movie is playing around in the background. And there's another reason why we made this a 3D composition, and I'll go into this here in a little, and once we make our camera and whatnot. Okay, so next we want to create a new solid. We'll name this background. We'll leave it all the same. We're going to take this, we're going to make it slightly dark gray. Okay, now once we have our background created, turn on your, make it 3D, hold down Shift with your rotation tool selected. I'm sorry, you gotta click and hold on the composition like this without moving it. Here, let's go back. Hold click, then hold down shift, and then you can just push forward on your mouse until we get something like that. Okay, with that being done, we want to take this, make sure we highlight only the background, go to scale, hit S on your keyboard. We're going to scale this up to about 400. We want to make sure that it covers everything we need it to cover. Okay, now with that being done, we are going to go to our top view. We're going to hit P on our keyboard, Z axis, move it down, keep going with it. You might have to go up to about 2000. Ah, there we go. And then we want to take that and get it approximately center, about like that. Now we can take this background layer, throw it up underneath our text, go back to our active camera. Next, what we want to do is bring this down. There we go, until we're right up underneath our text. Now you may have to zoom in for this a little bit if you want to get it just perfect. For tutorial purposes, I'm not going to worry about it so much. There we go, something like that. Okay, zoom back out, we'll go refit our composition so it's all nice and neat in the center here. Alright. Now you may think this is kind of small, but by the end of this you'll see why this is like this. Okay, so next let's go to New, Light. We want to create a point light that's white, intensity 100, but make sure the cast shadows is on. Click OK. Alright, now we want to go into our footage. Oops, did not mean to do that. Let's go back to our name. With our footage selected, hit AA on your keyboard and make sure set lights is turned off. And if you can barely see what it does to the text. See right there, it's dark. Now when I hit the switch, it's going to lighten up a little bit. See? Just like that. Okay. And then we want to go to our text, hit AA, and we want to make sure cast shadows is turned on. Now you're not going to see anything immediately, but don't panic. We're not done yet. Let's hit P for position on our keyboard for our point light. And we're going to start taking this light back in the Z space until we see something like this. Isn't that cool? Now this is the reason why I left this smaller than in the preview, so that way we can see more of the shadow down here. Now you can take and mess with this. I kind of like it just like that. You could also take your light, move it into a position that you like. And as you can tell, the further you go back, the more of the shadow you can see. I kind of prefer it long like this. I like that. That looks pretty good. Okay, next we want to right click, go to New, go to New Camera. I'm going to use a 50mm. You can pretty much choose whatever you want. Click OK. Next, we want to create a new null. We want to make this 3D. And then we're going to take this null, and we're going to move it to where we want the camera to go through. And you have to do this first before you attach the camera to it. And what we're going to take this pick whip here, hold down your left mouse, hover over the null, and just drop it. And there we go. Now we can go into the position of the null, over. Make sure that we're going through where we want. About like that. Okay, now the reason why you're getting this is because we forgot to do a step. So let's zoom back out of this for a second. This is a really simple mistake, and I'll show you how to correct this here in a second. Let's go back up. And make sure that we're not seeing any. Okay, go back to our footage. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to hit P on our keyboard. We're going to take our Z-axis here, and we're going to move it back. Just like that. Right about there, where it's still covering all your text. Next, we want to make sure it's still highlighted. Hit S on your keyboard for scale. And then we're going to scale that back on up. Just like that. Alright, now, if we go back to our null, and we zoom in all the way, come into the footage just like that. So from here, we want to hit our keyframe button at the beginning of our composition. I don't know, go to like 5 seconds maybe. And then we're going to zoom out. Just like this. So we're about back to where we were normally. Make sure you got a little overlap up here for your camera movement. And next we're going to take these keyframes and we're going to do what we do to most keyframes. We are going to hit F9 to easy ease those. And then we're going to go into our graph editor. We're going to take this one side here. And we're going to slide it on over about like that. Yeah. All right. Next, let's go back to the beginning of our composition. And we're going to do a quick little render. Now, as I go through and we add things, this rendering is going to become quite a bit slower. So you may not see me render out the final product. But for the sake of trying to make the tutorial quicker, I'll probably skip that. And there we go. Now, pretty much from here, it's all about dressing up how everything looks. And what we're going to go into here in a second. I just wanted to render this out really quick. As you can tell, the footage in the background is playing. And there we go. Okay, next. Let's see. I don't need to do that. Because our footage. All right. So next, what we want to do is we want to take our, let's see, our smoke, drop it in. You can just Google smoke, fog, or anything like that, or you don't even have to use it if you don't want to. I encourage that you don't. I encourage that you take this and then you expand upon it and come up with your own original works. We're going to drag that there. We're going to toggle our switches. We're going to click that to add. And there we go. We got a nice little fog. However, it's much too thick. So first, let's scale this. I want to scale it way up because I want it more like a fog than a smoke. And what I don't want it to do is be smoky when we're in in this part of the footage. So from right here, let's try to line that up. From right there, we're going to take this smoke, grab a hold of the bar, hold down shift, and it'll drag and snap to the timeline for you. So now we won't start seeing smoke until we're out here. But the smoke is still too smoky. Actually, I want to take this and move it back maybe just another frame. Because I don't want it to start until we start backing through the letters. So, okay, so with that being done, let's hit T on our keyboard to bring up our opacity. We are going to mark it. We're going to drop it down to 0. We're going to go forward all to about where our animation starts, and then we'll take this up to, I don't know, maybe 60. I don't want to overdo it. I think it was 60 that I used in the preview. So we'll pretty much stick with 60. Yeah, 60 looks pretty good. Maybe it's still a little too much. Let's drop that down a little bit because we still have other elements coming in. That's going to change the look of things a little bit. So we'll take it to, what did I take it to, 45? Yeah, 45 looks pretty good. All right, next. I'm going to bring in, let's see, where did I put it? This is just a light shining down. Again, you can Google this and get your hands on one or make one in, let's go to make one in Photoshop or something like that. We are going to go to add, and then again, we're going to do the same thing that we did here, and that is, you know what, I still don't, okay, so let's hit T to bring up our opacity. We're going to keyframe that, and then we're going to go out to the 4-second mark, and we are going to, I skipped a step here. We're going to take that down to 0, and as we get out here, we are going to drop this down to, that looks pretty good, about 23. We got some, still have some smoke going. I don't know. I'm still thinking there's a little bit too much smoke, so let's turn that down a little bit to about 30. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm liking that. Now, normally I would say grab your keyframes and ease them, but in this situation where we're going through like opacity and stuff like that, it's really not needed. Unless you want to speed up the process or slow it down. Okay, so I like that. It's still, okay, so that being done, let's move on to the next step, which would be what everybody should be doing. We're going to go to New, Adjustment Layer. We will name this adjustment layer Curves, Noise. We're going to go on over here to our Effects and Presets, type in Curves. We're going to drop that on over here. And we're going to put a little bit of contrast into everything. Go back out, take a look, things are looking just a little bit crisper and a little bit nicer out there. Then if you want, while you're here, you can go into your, like, I think I added a little bit of blue into that last footage. About like that. Anyway, all right, so let's add our second thing to this, which is going to be noise. Sorry if I'm kind of all over the place today. It's been a hectic week. So, all right. So, try to always remember to add a little bit of noise to your footage. Adds a little bit more professionality to it, and it doesn't make everything look perfect. And I mean, you really can't tell what this is doing until you get up on it, and then you can see it. It's just kind of like takes your perfect edges and adds a little bit of roughness to it. So, okay, so let's go back to fit. There we go. Okay, next, what we want to do is we want to create a new solid. We're going to make the solid black. Click OK. And we will name this vignette. Not sure if that's the correct spelling, but we're going to roll with it. All right, what we want to do with this vignette, we'll go out to where we know the full thing is showing. Go up to our shape tool, go to Eclipse, and we're going to drag out a nice little mask. And once we got that, we want to pick our selection tool, double click on this yellow box here. I have to deal with our mask tool. Okay, what the hell? That's going on. There we go. Alright, we basically want to drag this out so we got more of a line down this bottom, and you'll see why here in a second. Okay, go to your mask here and change it from add to subtract. And now you can see we basically made everything on the outside of that Eclipse black. But we don't want it with a sharp line, so hit F on your keyboard with your mask selection selected, and we are just going to turn this up until you can see stuff starting to peek up over the line. Let's turn this up just a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. Alright, I like that. We're going to take this, we're going to drop it. Nah, we could leave it there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, what we want to do, let's go to New, go to Solid. We will name this Home Bar. Make it the same size as the composition. Hit OK. Go up here to our rectangle tool, double click it, double click the box, hold Control and Alt, and pull down. So you get a nice little size bar at the top and the bottom. Now go to your mask options, and click Subtract, and there we go. We got a film bar. Pretty simple. Okay, now let's fit this. I hate that. To get rid of these things, if you want to see your preview, hit Control Shift H, and it'll clean all that up. And then we will hit, go back to the beginning of our footage here, and let's do a little quick preview, and maybe a little bit slow. Now you could go into we could turn on the motion blur, but in some instances motion blur isn't always the way to go. There we go, folks. Cinematic video through text reveal. There we go. And with that, I hope everybody has learned something. Hope everybody is out there safe. I know the world's going through some issues right now that we really can't talk about on YouTube. So with that being said, keep yourself safe, your family safe, and until the next tutorial, see y'all later.